Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having an absolutely incredible day. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says Bitcoin might be bracing for a bull run on resurgence of smart investors. That sounds a little condescending. A large portion of the news over the course of the last 2 weeks, price-wise, has circled around the idea that as we have now multiple applicants for a Bitcoin ETF within the US of A large number of institutional investors have begun to throw their money back at the cryptocurrency space in expectation of BlackRock, Fidelity. What was the other one? Was it called ProShares? And there's also two other companies in the last 6 days who have filed for a Bitcoin ETF that BlackRock is going to get the okay, and therefore everything else will seemingly cascade after it. A lot of optimism in this space right now, which I thoroughly do appreciate. Bitcoin's market cap could triple to $1.5 trillion. This was said by hedge fund manager Hugh Hendry. It says hedger fund manager, amazing. And macro investment strategist Hugh Hendry has recently revealed a bullish outlook for the flagship cryptocurrency, saying its market capitalization could almost triple to $1.5 trillion as macroeconomic conditions worsen. We have received a healthy amount of news over the last year or so that a number of countries who are currently undergoing hyperinflation, so not the normal extra sprinkle of inflation that we're all going through, the hyperinflation crowd that they're currently buying up large amounts of Bitcoin in parts of Africa and parts of Latin America and what have you, above the normal trend that we've been seeing before. This guy believes that once again, we are on the doorstep of all of this happening, in that as the macroeconomic outlook for a number of countries continues to worsen, a number of countries are announcing that they're going into a recession. People will look for other ways to make money. People will simply not be satisfied with the fact that they are losing money, but they will look for alternative ways to invest. And he thinks that Bitcoin, he says out of a bucket of other things, he thinks that Bitcoin is now becoming a proper alternative investment, similar to real estate, gold, other forms of equities, what have you. And he thinks it only requires a little push of money from what he's saying is several hundreds of trillions of dollars in other assets being reallocated into Bitcoin that would easily get us to a $90,000 Bitcoin. Therefore, the $1.5 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. In other price popularities, what's the word? People being excited. What's the word for that? People being excited about something. Excitement. Jeez Louise, excitement. For some reason, can't exactly figure it out. It says active XRP addresses surge, hinting at an imminent price breakout. The amount of optimism for XRP news completely outshined anything. Outshone? I want to say outshone. Anything for Bitcoin. There's a general sense of optimism floating through the entirety of the space, regardless of where prices might actually be. We continue to get news all the time of the halving is coming, Bitcoin's price is moving up, but now it seems a lot more concentrated. I saw an article, I don't think I have it here, I saw an article that said it's Polygon, Cardano, and Solana who are not doing as well as people assumed they would, but they assume also that this is because of the pressure that is being exerted from the SEC upon these coins and the other 54 coins that the SEC deemed to be unregistered securities, and that they have to go register with the SEC, which I also find this is, and I don't think we've heard this anywhere. I would have seen it. I haven't seen any extra news about that. In that, Coinbase and Binance and Kraken and Gemini and Fifth Exchange all got in trouble with the SEC over the course of the last 9 to 12 months. And we know actively that these companies have gone to the SEC to file paperwork, to scream at them in person, to have conversations, whatever the case might be. But if the SEC has said that they deem 57 cryptocurrencies to be unregistered securities, we haven't had any news of any of those companies actively going to the SEC. Maybe it's happening in the background and we simply don't know about it. But I would have definitely assumed that we would have heard about a couple of companies, because these are like the foundations are companies. You can name something whatever you want, but if you are bringing in money from something that you created, or the product that you are selling, or even that's on the market according to the SEC, you are still a company. But we haven't had news that the people from Solana walked into the SEC's office or emailed them or sent them a letter asking them to stop what they were. You understand what I'm saying? Like that, it's a little weird on that front, because I do not believe that Ripple was the only company who received some kind of paperwork in the mail from the SEC. It's definitely other companies out there. And I cringe lightly in even saying this out loud. At least at the time of me making this video, there's a lot of news about the end of the XRP SEC lawsuit. Why do I cringe? Because we've been getting that news since last November. If you want, I'll make a video showing you all the articles, because I can easily find them. Last November, we had news that at the end of November, the XRP lawsuit would be over. In December, we had news of a breakout in XRP's price because it looks like Judge Torres was going to issue her final verdict at the end of December. Around January, we started hearing that it would finish around Q1. That is to say, January, February, and March. By the time we got to the end of January, a lot of the news that was coming out was imminent. XRP, SEC, Ripple 123 lawsuit is ending in February. Pack your bags, get ready. By the time we were in the middle of February, we had a lot of the crypto XRP lawyers who were saying that they had good word that it was going to end sometime in March. Remember, we also had the situation where, what's this guy's name? Charles Hoskinson also came forward. You can find the articles a couple months ago, also came forward and said, or it was alleged that Hoskinson said allegedly that he knew that the lawsuit was going to end very soon. Because a little bird or something told him, and everyone was like, okay, here we go. By the time we got to March, we were getting indications that something would happen by the time it was getting warm outside in the northern hemisphere. And therefore, everyone get ready, it's about to happen. By the time we got to June, we started hearing that it would happen at the end of June. And now we're also hearing that you can find the articles that July is the definite time that the lawsuit's going to be over. You understand what I'm saying? It's just been a roller coaster of emotions in general, because this lawsuit is going to determine the movements of the rest of the cryptocurrency market for a very long time. If we hear, once again, for those who don't know, that Ripple has, air quotes, lost the lawsuit, a number of coins are going to collapse. This will probably heavily benefit Bitcoin in some sort of way as money begins to flow in there. But the issue is that if Ripple loses, all they have to then do is file paperwork and register with the SEC. Therefore, XRP would de facto be a security, but you can list securities on stock markets, and other companies would companies also deal in securities all the time. They would simply have to register with the SEC to be able to actively use this properly regulated cryptocurrency. If XRP wins the lawsuit and is deemed not to be a security, the entire cryptocurrency market skyrockets. So once again, it's one of those win-win for XRP regardless. It's just that one will take a little bit longer in letting people know that it's completely fine. That even, they lost the lawsuit. XRP will just simply be more regulated. It says XRP set to break major year-long resistance, gearing for a parabolic pump. If history repeats itself, this sign shows XRP pump coming. XRP showing bullish sign. This was said by Santiment. You get what I'm saying? Everyone, or the majority of people and analysts are very optimistic about the prices of the cryptocurrency market as we edge ever closer to the Bitcoin halving. However, the most optimistic of all of them is XRP. Next in line is Bitcoin. I see some stuff about Ethereum every now and again, but it has to do with the idea that if a Bitcoin ETF goes through, then maybe companies will begin to focus on an Ethereum ETF, and therefore that will also bring up some momentum as well. Not many coins right now are leading the pack when it comes to sentiment for the market and where things are gearing up to go. Just thought I'd show you that so you have a generalized understanding that these are the two coins that everyone's kind of rooting for. And I continue, and I don't know how this is happening, but I continue to see people in the comment section who want XRP to lose the lawsuit. Sure, if your wish comes true, just understand that your coin, the other coin that you're holding, is also going to collapse in value dramatically. So, what's the word? Don't throw crypto in glass houses or something like that. Just you have to understand that your coin is not impervious to the will of the SEC, and it will also be dragged down. So that's the XRP bullish bull run. Historically, parabolic movement upward. Stuff is about to go completely bonkers. News. And yeah, let's move on. Also according to an article by Bloomberg Economics has warned that the Bank of England's aggressive measures to control the UK's soaring inflation rate, the highest among the group of 7 economies, could plunge the country into a recession by the end of this year. In their analysis published on Tuesday, economists Dan Hansen and Ana Andrade predict a mild yet prolonged downturn as a consequence of tackling an inflation rate that hovers near double digits, which is insane to think about. I'm not sure how the UK's inflation rate hasn't dropped. They've done the exact same thing as the US Fed, but they're like, what we recently heard, like, didn't they have an inflation rate of like 11% or something like that? I'm not understand how they're not. Anyway, despite 13 consecutive interest rate hikes since the end of 2021. That is absolutely insane. A number of countries are currently in a recession. The most popular one that keeps popping up every now and again in the news is Germany. Germany has been in a recession for a couple of weeks, maybe even like a month now. Time is flying. I don't understand how if we were to collectively blink right now, it would be August. I'm not understanding this new trend of life moving really fast. Like the silver lining there is I'm like, okay, we're getting closer to the halving. It's almost 2024, but then you're like, how is more than half the year gone? Like I didn't do anything. I've just been working and making videos. And anyway, yes. So a number of economies by the end of this year are expected to slip into some sort of a recession. I went over this on my other channel, Money Rules, that a lot of this has kind of been overblown, inblown, and people thinking that a recession would literally mean you and your family standing in a line hoping to get a slice of bread, like that kind of thing. We've been through countless recessions, at least as long as I've been alive, which means you've also been going through the exact same things. It's just a retraction of the actual economy, and growth isn't expected to be as large as it was in previous years. The issue still is inflation. Inflation is the actual problem. And it's really funny. I'm really into, I don't know why, I'm really into watching movies from the 80s and 90s, like TV shows especially. It's something about it, some really weird nostalgia that makes no sense because I was too young to even realize what was going on the TV. But I've watched a lot of these old TV shows and episodes, and they constantly mention recessions. Like go back and watch an old show that you used to love, at some point they'll make a joke like, oof, the recession's hitting everyone. Like 91, 94, 97, like there's always talk of a recession in these TV shows. And if you look back at when countries and economies were going through recessions, it's not like every 20 years. Like it's literally every 3-4 years. It's some kind of a retraction of the economy. So we've gone through all of this before. Like it's not like, you know, things may slow down and people may lose their jobs, but it's nothing catastrophic like a depression. The issue lies in the fact that prices continue to skyrocket everywhere. I was chatting with a friend. I don't think he's listening. Hello, if you are. He's into crypto, but he's not like in to crypto, if you catch my drift. And he was telling me he was looking for a flight somewhere, and the flight, and I mean, you know, would have normally cost around a good maybe 180, maybe 200, maybe 220, maybe 250. Somewhere, you know, floating around those numbers. He's not going far. He's flying for like an hour and a half. And he said the flight was 1,025, and he was like, that's way higher than, you know, 6, 7, 8% for inflation. We've been talking about like grocery prices. You've all been going through it. You've maybe seen the TikToks or the I use Instagram more than I probably should. And a lot of the reels, these people are walking around showing their local supermarkets, and it's like, that's not 9%. That's definitely a good 400% rise. I saw a video. I forgot to post it on Twitter like I used to do before. Every time I was watching something crazy, I used to post the link to it on Twitter from YouTube. People, what were they doing? Yes. It was a woman who was talking about like what inflation actually is, like the real numbers. And she was going through what prices were back in 2019 to what they are right now. And she was showing like petrol prices or clothing prices or even like some luxury goods. Luxury goods is a bit of a stretch, but some of these prices were up by 400, 500, 600%. And she's like, I feel like the companies are just kind of using this as an excuse to make even more money. For those of you who weren't here last year, that was a heated topic, at least for me. I think people breeze by it and simply accept corporate greed for what it is. There was a discussion amongst the corporations who were on like a group chat call, you know, like one of those things like they're all sitting in a room in a round table, and there's like a little like speaker in the middle of them. And this woman recorded what was going on, I think with her phone in her pocket. And she was these people were talking about inflation and how inflation was 6, 7, 8% wherever they might have been. And they were bragging that they had made more money than they had ever done in the company's existence, simply because they were using inflation as a way, as an excuse to double and triple their prices, because, you know, no one's going to really check internally. So you can simply sit there and go, oh my gosh, you know, the supply chains are broken and inflation's really high. So we have to take these measures to be able to, you know, we have to pass on the money to the consumers. And it's like, well, I'm pretty sure the number 7 is a lot lower than 300. So how are you managing to, you know, quadruple and triple your prices? It's just very, very weird. So the economists forecast a year-long recession commencing in the fourth quarter, which could result in a loss of just over 1% of economic output. This projection is based on the assumption that the Bank of England will continue to increase interest rate hikes to 5.75 by November, up from the current 5. However, they think that 6.25% by December is likely, and the downturn could be significantly worse. I watch a lot of, and I don't know why. I'm not there. I don't know why I do it. Do you ever watch like real estate buying shows? I'm obsessed with it. I mean, I like buying real estate, but it's something about watching other people buy it. It's like, wow, what a bargain they got. There's one show in particular that I like. It's literally called Location, Location, Location. It's a great show. You have to watch it. But one of the things that keeps popping up in the newer episodes is a lot of people are mentioning like the interest rates, and they're like, yeah, you know, we saved up. When I just saw, the woman was like, yeah, we still live with our parents. We're in our late 30s, but we managed to save a good chunk of change thinking we'd be able to buy something or put down a down payment. And then she was like, yeah, but the interest rate's kind of high right now, and I feel like we should have just bought when it was 0%, because the interest rate, for those of you who don't know, if the interest rate in a country is 5 or 6%, banks can, have a bit of leeway and wiggle room around there. So there are banks right now who are charging anywhere from 4 to like 7% as an interest rate, because they think that people at some point will actually accept that they need this money, so they're willing to like squeeze a little bit more. Anyway, the point is, yes, it appears that recessions are near, but also we have been hearing since the end of 2021 that a mega super crazy ultra recession in the United States was also right around the corner. And since then, like, the economy has retracted a bit, but it's been nothing astronomically like, oh my gosh, like the GDP fell by 25%. It seems to be relatively normal. And this is why we had the Fed actually like freeze interest rates at least once, because things don't seem as bad, and/or if these countries and central banks continue to increase the interest rates, things will get bad. Like, things are already, wobbly right now, but 6.25% by December. Are they trying to destroy the economy? Like, I understand that they're trying to ease inflation within their country, but maybe find another way. 13 consecutive interest rate hikes, and it's done like 1%. That's the apparently the uke is gonna have a recession sometime soon. Don't be afraid. We've gone through these before. It is not ultimate doom and gloom. The problem is inflation. If you watch any documentaries or videos, there are a number of markets that are super within the United Kingdom that are having supply issues, and or prices are tripling for a head of lettuce. And it's like, yeah, that's the recession news. Okay, let's move on. In seemingly never-ending story news, and I don't know if we will ever finish this, Swiss authorities have reportedly frozen $26 million worth of assets from Terraform Labs and their founder, Do Kwon. It says former crypto billionaire. The assets frozen include Bitcoin, and was frozen from the Swiss digital asset bank Signum. This was reported by a Korean outlet known as Digital Asset. Do Kwon is constantly sneaking his way back into the cryptocurrency news. I'm not sure. I assume it's some level of an odd fascination with him and Sam Bankman-Fried that people are thirsty for. They want some kind of negative news for these people who they feel are monsters. It's not to say that they aren't monsters, but understand that the things that are alleged against Do Kwon and Sam Bankman-Fried, the other higher-ups in the cryptocurrency space are doing the exact same thing. We've gone over that before. We won't get into it. But understand that what they did was not a one-of-a-kind kind of thing. A lot of people in this space are quite sleazy and slippery. That's the general term for it. So a couple days ago, Do Kwon was in the news because apparently it wasn't a freezing of assets. I think he tried to leave wherever he was, but they said that he couldn't, and I think he's on house arrest or croissant arrest. He's under something. And now the news is that the banks around the world are freezing his assets. I assumed that they had already done this, but alas, here we are, still talking about this. Also in the news that won't go away for the life of us, FTX has recovered about $7 billion in liquid assets so far, and the search for additional assets is continuing. CEO John Ray said in the FTX debtors' second interim report, the extensive commingling of funds complicate their efforts, however. So the allegations are now that Sam Bankman-Fried and all of his, brainiac mastermind might was apparently commingling funds, and now they're trying to figure out which funds were commingled so that they can get them back. A couple of months ago, part of the news was that due to political donations and something else or other that was taking place, apparently money has been extracted once again that can now go back to the people who are owed their money. And something about a dragon and a princess and people fighting with swords or something like that in a video game. That whole last part was fake. It was more Zelda. Anyway, the point is, I'm not sure what I think is happening is, if you remember, I told you before, fear only lasts for so long. The human body can't continuously be afraid forever. It literally is impossible. So I think the FTX news scared the goodness out of people. I was going to say like 8 other things there. One of them was an S word, out of people, and that fear dissipated. I told you it would. The market would eventually recover because people can't be afraid of FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried as this goblin monster forever. But I feel like news publications are trying to figure out a way for people to like revisit their websites. And they're like simply reprinting or like posting new news about the things that got them like record numbers of clicks last year. That is to say, the entire FTX and or Terra whatever news that we had. I told you this was my opinion and it still stands. None of this was ever a big deal. Banks have literally done 4,700 million times worse, over the course of 1 year. This entire thing was blown out of proportion, and now we never hear the name Sam Bankman-Fried again because I told all of you, and the amount of the public realized the things that he did were the same exact thing that other CEOs are still doing right now. I think still this was all part of a really weird, elaborate plan to bring down the cryptocurrency market and prices as a way for these mega companies to come in. Didn't anyone find it really weird that October, November, and December were like terrible months where every day was bad news? Everything in the news, even like the mainstream news or like, on cable, was about Sam Bankman-Fried and how intelligent he was and how he grifted millions of dollars from people and he was a billionaire and he had a house here and Do Kwon was doing this. Do Kwon's on the run. We got to find them. Everything is scary and terrible. And we kept on hearing about this is going to happen to the crypto market. Things are going to fall. Everything is absolutely scary and horrible. And I was like, no, this seems pretty commonplace for someone who is allegedly a scammer. It seems pretty right. And then by the time we got to January, February, and March, that was the moment that the cryptocurrency market needed regulation, so saith the SEC. And since then, they did not regulate. They regulated by enforcement, by saying that everyone's in trouble. I don't care who did it. Every single one of you, you're all in trouble, without saying what the trouble was. Besides hearing that they are offering unregistered securities, what is the actual allegation against these like 7 different companies? It's a security. Why? As the SEC, can you give me a list as to what deems this product to be a security so we all know why they got in trouble? The last 9 months, 10 months have been shaking the cryptocurrency market around, and we heard once again the same nonsense that we've been hearing or were hearing in 2017 and 2018. Unregulated, terrible. The only people who are using it are horrible, awful people who have no sense of money. And then we see BlackRock and Fidelity go, oh yeah, we're also here. I'm just going to squeeze in right here just to make sure that I'm also in the market. All of this seems planned. I don't know how tinfoil hat you think that is, but if you know anything about finance and what these people will do in a market that they've all stated they believe can go to $100 trillion, I feel like they'd be roughly willing to do anything in their power to make sure that they can get a slice of the pie by pushing the larger players out and lowering the market so that they can get in at lower prices. So yeah, FTX still in the news. Sam Bankman-Fried's name, not so much. Do Kwon seems to be the poster child for evil right now within the cryptocurrency space. And it's like, stop worrying about these idiots. It's always the same over and over. Like, so anyway, that's the never-ending story news. It's those two stories and the XRP lawsuit. I literally don't think they'll ever end. When I wrote on Twitter about a week or so ago, I wrote, when do you think the XRP lawsuit's going to end? And I was like, maybe around the year 2050, 2057. I wasn't joking. We all know, just from, you can read on the SEC's website or through documents, what an unregistered security is. This lawsuit has been going on for 3 years. Why is this judge taking a year to give her deliberations, to give her answer? It is abundantly clear to everyone on the planet that the SEC has been lying. If you missed the news from a day or two ago, Coinbase, who is currently embroiled in a legal battle with the SEC as well, simply stated, SEC, can you please give us news as to what is and what is not a security? Give us some kind of regulations. Please do this within 20 days. This was also, I believe, mandated by the court. The SEC turned around and said, oh, no, it's really difficult. Can you give us 4 months? Why is Hong Kong able to do it in 6 months? It's just a load of nonsense. So my wish for the new year, we're not even there yet. We're not even close. But I mean, we'll be there by tomorrow, is to stop hearing the words FTX. I don't care what Do Kwon did or what he's doing or the assets that he has or what he's been hiding or what's been frozen. I would love for the judge in the Ripple case to just give a ruling. What's the problem? What exactly are you waiting for? I think when those 3 dominoes finally collapse, I think mentally in the cryptocurrency space we'll be in a completely different, better mindset. Because everything else seems to be fantasticals. When you talk about these multi-trillion-dollar companies who have already been in the cryptocurrency space, going even further into the cryptocurrency space, I think we'll be just fine. But it's all a matter of time. I think that is going to do it for this video. I do sincerely hope that you are all having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.